A while back I did a video on how making up your own continuity is usually the best course of action when it comes to superhero comics. Continuity in superhero comics can often get confusing, convoluted, so it's often best for you to just make it up as you go along in order to keep things in check. There is a term for this, which I neglected to mention the first time around. It's called headcanon. It is the story canon that you create in your head. Now, sometimes your headcanon lines up with what Marvel and DC want you to think is canon, like an origin story or the death of certain characters. And sometimes it doesn't, like with the recent issue of Batgirl, which essentially erased the Killing Joke from continuity. But did it really erase the Killing Joke? So some background. The Killing Joke is a 1988 story written by Alan Moore with art by Brian Boland. It's considered to be a classic Batman story and is often cited as the defining story of the Joker. This is also the story where the Joker shoots and paralyzes Barbara Gordon, the original Batgirl. Now, despite this being considered a classic, there are a lot of people who straight up do not like the Killing Joke. Its own creators have their problems with it. And it's the paralyzing of Barbara Gordon that has most people upset. The fact that a woman specifically was attacked and paralyzed in order to advance the story of the male characters. It's basically women in refrigerators before Gail Simone coined the term. Now, the interesting thing about the Killing Joke is that it was not originally intended to be part of the ongoing Batman continuity. It was just a one-off story that aimed a little bit more adult. It didn't take place in any of the main Bat books, either Batman or Detective. It was its own separate thing. But I think because it was so popular and acclaimed at the time, DC felt that they had no choice but to add it to their current continuity. And this includes the paralyzing of Barbara Gordon and therefore no more Batgirl. Which, yes, it does suck that it was decided to let this stay as canon. But in spite of this, people found ways to make lemonade out of these really bad lemons. Kim Yale and John Ostrander turned Barbara Gordon into Oracle, an information broker and computer hacker extraordinaire during their run on Suicide Squad. She became a breakout star of the series, and a lot of people, myself included, liked her more as Oracle than they did as Batgirl. Here was a character who would not let her tragedy define her. She overcame all obstacles and became one of the smartest and most valuable characters, not just in the Batman universe, but the entire DC universe. Not to mention being one of the few iconic comic book characters with a significant physical handicap. She would remain Oracle up until 2011 when the New 52 happened and made her Batgirl again. The Killing Joke was still a part of her history. She was still shot and paralyzed, but she was allowed to get better, which I think is only fair. If Jason Todd is allowed to get over being dead, why can't Barbara Gordon get over having bad legs? But things started to change when Brendan Fletcher, Cameron Stewart, and Babs Tarr took over the book and turned her into what I affectionately like to call hipster Batgirl. That's seriously not a dig. It's just my way of differentiating the classic Batgirl look from the one that wears Doc Martens and takes selfies. This new creative team have gone out of their way to make Killing Joke less and less significant in Barbara Gordon's life. This culminated in Batgirl issue 49, released 2 weeks ago, where this page shows her falling through false memories implanted in her brain. One of those false memories? The moment when the Joker shot Barbara Gordon. Basically, this was the creative team saying, hey, guess what? Killing Joke ain't canon anymore. Don't worry about it. And yet, if you actually read the comic, you'll see that things are left just ambiguous enough where the events of Killing Joke could still have taken place. Which, for someone like me who enjoys stories like No Man's Land, Hush, the original Birds of Prey, stories where Oracle was a main factor in, this works. This allows me and people like me to have our stories while not stepping on the toes of people who never wanted Oracle in the first place. This is great. This is where you can really let your headcanon go wild. The writers are saying that it's up to you to decide what's canon. It doesn't matter what DC or anybody else says. Superhero comics are going to be rebooted and relaunched to the point of absurdity. They already have. So you need to take the reins yourself in order to figure out what's what. And with this, they are officially telling you it's okay to do so. Now, I understand that people might not think that this is good enough, that they should just strike the Killing Joke from history completely. But honestly, I think it's too late for that. The Killing Joke has shaped the Batman mythos for almost 30 years and has defined one of the most popular characters in DC canon for just as long. To remove it completely will require a whole nother reboot, and do we want that again? Plus, they're already making the Killing Joke animated movie. As I was writing the script for this, Mark Hamill tweeted out this, the first official still from the film. Now, if you really don't like the Killing Joke, I understand completely. But now you don't have to be reminded of it every time you read Batgirl or read another comic with her in it. This is DC telling you it's okay to forget it forever. And if you think that this is DC caving to social justice warriors, then just go away. Seriously, nobody likes it when you say those words. You just bring the world down. So what do you guys think about the revelations in Batgirl 49? What do you think of the Killing Joke? Do you have it as part of your headcanon? Let me know down below or anywhere on the internet. Sorry if this is considered late. I would have discussed this last week on Wulff Den Live, but I took a personal day. Yes, we do take personal days here. New videos Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. As always, like if you like, subscribe if you really like, share this video with a friend. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Now, personally, I think continuity is important. But how do I manage all the different stories and histories of all these different titles and characters? Well, it's simple. I just make it up. However, his alter ego Danny Rand is a blonde white guy from a rich New York family. Now this has been seen as kind of problematic in recent years, sort of perpetuating the white savior stereotype.